In this video, I'd like to talk to you guys about good volley technique and also good volley practice habits. In this video, I'm going to be hitting some volleys. I'm in the white on the bottom right. To my left is Ted, the tennis pro who taught me how to play when I was younger. And on the other side of the net is Dan and Stephanie. I'd like to thank Ted for inviting me to play in this group as I was in town, and Dan and Stephanie, thank you guys for giving me permission to use this video on the website. Now, this is the first rally and the first tennis balls that all four of us are going to be hitting for this drill group. So we're just walking out on the court to warm up right now. And what I'm really going to be highlighting as you guys watch us start to rally is the control that all four of us demonstrate. And we didn't set out to try to hit a certain number of shots in a row, but Ted had us go start from the service line. All four of us are about half a step inside the service line, maybe a step inside the service line. And as we rally back and forth, there's going to be three main things that allow us to be this controlled as we hit back and forth. And it's one of my biggest pet peeves in my teaching to ask my students to be able to rally back and forth, and oftentimes they have a hard time doing this from the net. And as we hit back and forth, notice how we're hitting some volleys, some half volleys, and I'm going to highlight three main technical things or elements that are allowing us to be this consistent back and forth. The first one is footwork. I want you guys to watch our feet as we rally back and forth. All four of us, with the exception of Ted once in a while. Ted just recently had a broken leg that he's recovering from, so he's not moving as much as he normally would. But if you watch myself and Dan and Stephanie, all three of us are taking split steps every time our partner is hitting the ball. And I'm going to restart the video here in a second. So watch our feet as we rally back and forth. That's very, very important, even with volleys, and especially as you guys get closer to the net, the ball comes back more and more quickly, so it's important that you guys keep your feet moving. Secondly, technique. All of us are hitting very conventional, traditional volleys with an open racket face. Our racket faces or strings are facing up towards the ceiling slightly, and we're using very simple motions with the racket, very simple strokes or shots or swings of the racket. And I don't like the word swing because it kind of assumes a little bit bigger stroke, but we're all using very controlled, short motions. It's very important. It's nothing complicated. Thirdly, concentration is big here. We're hitting the middle of our rackets every time, with the exceptions of the shots that we miss. Stephanie missed a couple of shots there, both of which hit her frame, and eventually when myself and Dan end our rally, it was from Dan hitting a volley. And it's not that Ted and I are immune to hitting our frame. That's definitely not the case. But the couple of shots that we did miss during this quick clip were from hitting off center. The reason why we were able to keep a lot of balls going in general was from good concentration and from making good contact in the middle of the racket. Also, as far as concentration is concerned, none of us are getting bored and trying to put the ball away and be fancy and powerful. We're keeping on task, we're keeping focused, and we have a goal in mind, and that is to keep the ball going and be cooperative, and we're all sticking to that. And because of that, Ted and Stephanie on their first rally get 39 volleys in a row. Myself and Dan on our first rally got 75 volleys in a row. Now, the average level player, if you ask two of them to go out to the service line and rally volleys back and forth, are only going to get 5 or 10 or so. 15 or 20 is very good, and above 20, you're really looking at a pretty advanced player. Even though we're not being aggressive, we're not hitting aggressive shots and trying to put the ball away, we're being cooperative, and we're making this look relatively easy, but it's not, especially not from farther back closer to the service line. So let me encourage you guys in your practice to do more rallies like this, to be cooperative rather than competitive, and to set up situations where you're trying to control the ball to a specific part on the court. This is where you guys are really going to improve your games the most, is by being controlled. And again, when I ask students to do this and they have trouble doing it, it's because of three main reasons. First of all, again, they get bored, they lose concentration, and they just kind of lose interest in general, and they just start hitting the ball without any real purpose or any real reason, and the rallies get short very quickly. Secondly, people don't have the control to stay relaxed and slow and smooth and just keep the ball in play. It takes concentration and focus to just be controlled and just keep the ball in play without having to hit it hard and get all crazy and make everything complicated with the stroke. Keep it simple, open the face, and just block it back. And lastly, I hear a complaint most often when I ask students to rally like this, and that is they'll tell me, I should be practicing hitting away from the person. Why in the world am I rallying back to my partner? This is terrible practice. I want to go win more points, so why in the world would I practice hitting an easy shot back to my partner? This is a waste of time. And that's a big complaint, and it's a big fallacy. Control is control. If you guys are able to take a forehand or backhand volley, aim to a small place on the court where your partner is able to easily volley it back again, you should be able to take that control and then redirect it towards anywhere on the court that you want. And so it's not a matter of being aggressive versus controlled. It's not a matter of being cooperative versus competitive. It's just a matter of control in general. And I really encourage you guys to do these types of drills where you have to stay focused. You've got a small section of the court to work with where your partner's going to have an easy time hitting it back, and just practice being focused, controlled, and concentrating and keeping the ball going back and forth. We're making it look easy here, but it really is not. Go out and give this a shot and see if you can beat 75, which myself and Dan got. Both volleys and half volleys are fine. Just keep your feet moving, stay in one spot, and do your best to keep the ball going.